and welcome back to HGC for the grand finale of today. That's right, this one's for all the Pog champs that you can muster in chat, because the winner of this match is almost certainly, depending on who wins it, gonna go to the Western Clash, and there are 3 teams, Jay Howe, 3 teams who wanna go, have the ability to go, only 2 spots left.
No matter how much you and I have talked about this, we're back there grabbing a quick bite to eat, like, if this, then that, if this, then that. I feel like a computer programmer. It's like if-then statements everywhere. And even then, the lines of coding, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a typo somewhere, so I'm going to let you handle it.
All right, well, shout out to DB Smiley, because that's where the information I've got is coming from. But as you take a look at the standings, here's what we know. Team Freedom, if they win, they're in. That's all they have to do. Octalysis, if they win but go 3-2, there is a small chance that they still couldn't go, depending on how the Endemic Tempo Storm match shakes out. If Team Freedom 3-0s, though, Octalysis, there's no way that they're able to go, and Endemic gets in no matter what, no matter how the match between Endemic and Tempo Storm goes tomorrow. So Octalysis and Freedom, both of them, they want to get the win as decisively as possible for a myriad of reasons. But for Octalysis, it's to make sure that they don't just win the series, but they win it hard.
I sure as heck can't see either team going 3-0. This series has historically been so contested between these two. The amount of skill displayed on both sides as we take another look at the expanded standings there. And a lot of it is due to Endemic and Octalysis. Their records are tied. Team Freedom, if Octalysis wins, it's 4-3 as well. But then it becomes your match score, or the game score, the plus minus, which is that third column there. That's the crucial one, because that comes in before the head-to-head, which Endemic owns the head-to-head against Octalysis, which is why Octalysis cannot have the same game record and match record. That is very important for them.
It's going to be a tough one for both of the teams here. A tough one for Endemic tomorrow versus Tempo Storm, though, with Tempo Storm showing how they did versus Heroes Hearth yesterday, and Endemic seemingly ramping up the longer that we go through part 1. It's possible that Endemic wins that series. So both of the teams in this one, they need to bring their A game.
Octalysis, they have had so much self-faith. They've admitted they have things they're working on, things they're trying to work through. At times, it's moments of brilliance. At other times, they're a team still in search of that identity that I continue to bring up, because I still haven't seen that solidified for this team. There's not a lot of time left, so now is the chance. If you want to prove that you are a top team, not only do you have to beat Team Freedom, but you have to do so in decisive fashion, else you're sitting at home, just like everybody else tomorrow, watching that series, trying to see if you're going to make it to the Western Clash. And I know every single member for Octalysis wants to go. They want to get back to that stage.
Yeah, there is a lot of things to talk about in the draft, a lot of things that have been present for both the teams, a lot of things that have been conspicuously absent that we'll get into after the video. But first, let's hear from previous teammates Yoda and Buds as they weigh in on their final match of this part.
Team Freedom's a team that's really focused on macro and map rotations, and they're a lot weaker in team fight situations. So generally, their strategy is to just split push and try and get advantages across the map and avoid team fighting. In order to beat Freedom, we need to not fall behind early and then get to the mid game and win team fights from there. As long as we don't lose the draft or fall behind early game, then we can beat them pretty easily.
Ever since last phase, when Octalysis had an all-star roster including Kieran Dansky, no one has thought that skill has been holding Octalysis back, and I think the same is true this season. If anything holds them back, it will be internal issues. To pick up a win off of Octalysis, we would need to exploit whatever internal issues they're having, play at the top of our game, and prepare draft really well, like always. Assuming our team can play under optimal circumstances, I'm expecting a 3-1 or 3-2 victory.
It's weird, Bud sounded a lot like Prismat there.
Oops.
Never mind. Still former teammates, though, so it still works. Still just as good of a throw, if I do say so myself.
I might have got the names mixed up. I know Buds and I know Prismat. I might have told Gilly that I talked to Buds this week.
I wasn't going to throw him under the bus or anything.
I'll throw myself under the bus. That is on me. My bad. The situation, we had to take a detour today to work. Situations The circumstances were not optimal.
As they so rarely are. You know what would make things really just perfectly optimal? That would be if we went to Brax's holdout for game 1. And so we are. But let's take a look at those bans. Octalysis is banning Sky. Very normal. Team Freedom's going to ban Shrines. That's a change-up. Quite a change-up.
They go back and forth on that. It's a seesaw battle of whether they want to play Infernal, whether they don't want to play Infernal. Gilly has this debate on whether she wants to hold her pin, whether she wants to throw her pin.
All I do is pick it up and flip it into the riding position, and it's like I don't know my own strength because it just flies off.
Gilly smash pin. Like it's, there has to be almost like an entire like 5-minute segment of you losing pins on the desk. That's probably not on camera. Some are on camera. It's just like.
Well, don't worry. If it wasn't out there, I'll clip together. I'm sure Kaleo will be right on it.
They have table flipping. Gilly remixed it to pin flipping.
Pin flipping. Okay, so Brax's holdout. This is the second time now Freedom has chosen this. They want to start off with a win by taking Octalysis to potentially unfamiliar territory. The last time Freedom played Braxis, it was versus Endemic. They ended up losing it, though they had a big lead throughout the game. And they did play Tracer, so that's not going to be available now as Octalysis takes that away.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the week where we have control point changes?
Yes.
The beacon changes? Ooh. Everybody's first look at Braxis. So it used to be you have to get it to the middle channel, similar to Dragonshire, to stop the channel. Now you just have to stand on that bad boy. And the 0% Zerg wave, not so 0% anymore.
Well, we had one Abathur solo support. Not going to have another one. Freedom's going to take away Phoenix. I mentioned conspicuously absent things in draft before the video, and I do want to just throw those out really quickly. Octalysis has seemed like they are settling their draft down somewhat, and a big part of that is triple melee. Having Draded play the third melee, sometimes Prismat if it's a Malthael, as he said. Freedom has not shown that at all. That's just not really their thing. Maybe one game we've seen that from them, but it's not. They're more likely to play double support, though that seems to have been adjusted away. Octalysis did not play a single Rainer game last weekend, though, and Freedom has, and Freedom will, and they'll play it with a Tassadar.
Ooh. That's a lot of sustain. Self-heal from Rainer, shields to supplement that healing. Wave clear. Rainer actually has it now with this Give Him Some Pepper. Tassadar has the Psy Storm. You want to talk about absent? Urel, are you there? This is a very good map for a solo lane.
I think Octalysis will pick her up here.
What were you saying about triple melee? Go on, tell me more. Because it's not just triple melee, it is triple warrior.
Okay, so we'll just take Hammer away because that would be a beefy front line in front of her. Yes, that's true. We don't need a quadruple tank situation happening. This happens. Octalysis does this. They even did this back when they had Cure, and they're willing to run on this map double solo laners. Muradin, we know Muradin's value on Brax's holdout. He likes to steal beacons from behind a team that's trying to siege. But it's the Urel and Dahaka that's going to be an interesting one for me. And then they ban another solo laner, so
Oh my goodness! Well, I can tell you one thing.
He's so excited.
Going into triple melee, it is bomb heaven here. And then post 13, unlike Tempo Storm, you go the cooldown reduction on your bomb, which
He's not salty. He's not salty.
Okay, hold on. By the way, just so we can put this into perspective, is we're going to get an Alex Straza and a Tychus to try and deal with that.
Oh, yeah, and you want to take Alex away because Lifeliner.
So
okay.
let me get this going here. So
you're just like desperate to write things down.
I had quite the privilege of talking to Vin for the first time this week, as we'll hear from him tomorrow for that pregame interview. Wonderful person. But there was something in the back of my mind when we left the studio last week. I was like, I mentioned Fazda. He's one of the most well-known show players at one of the highest ranks. And I was like, I think Vin was the goal for him. And so Vin has this Cho'Gall experience. So I asked him, I said, weren't you the Gaul with Vazdeva? He's like, I was. And I was like, I knew it. And there was a time where if they showed up in Hero League together and they were in the same slot, in the same 1-2, they would pick Cho'Gall and they would wreck people. So I had to get that out of the way last week, and I was like, I'm pretty sure it was Ven. I did double check. It was him. So we're getting our Cho'Gall from Team Freedom here. So this does give you an interesting approach to this, because this is a 3-2 split for Team Freedom. You're going to leave Tassadar and Raynor to dominate one lane, and Cho'Gall Deckard to hold another.
Yo, I'm way messed up writing my draft down. Doesn't matter, I'll have it later. The important thing to realize is that Cho'Gall is here, and Cho'Gall's name is Grug.
Grug it is, because that's where we're leaving it.
Grug will go down in history along with the likes of SS Hosty, T, and Sven, the European Cho'Gall. Not really, just from Tempo Storm and Grug. That's my favorite part about casting Cho'Galls in HGC. So we see the Tass Raynor top. Deckard Cain will be they've got the double support set up, and Deckard Cain will be there to keep Grug healthy with those potions.
So this is the setup, and Goku is going to have a very difficult time. And the reason you see Octalysis, as you had mentioned, run two solo laners, is that they have two solo laners and a 3-man gank squad. And the 2-3 split by Team Freedom solves a lot of those problems.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to gank Cho'Gall. It's very difficult to gank a Jimmy and a Tassadar. Ganking one person is fine. Ganking two, much more difficult. And we already see a switch in the lane priority that will force Octalysis to rotate accordingly, and that is much easier for them to do.
Remember, having two solo laners also equates to having two people to hold points. And with Dwarf Toss, you can make your way in to perhaps get a pick, or to steal away a shrine, a beacon. Now the Cho'Gall for Team Freedom is going to get in and force Goku off the point for a slight amount of time. Goku's going to get back on it and start the channel up.
Vision will be so important. The Eye of Kilrugs will have to be in all of those choke points. And this is a camp stolen here by Team Freedom. And now the gank squad goes top. They've bought time for Octalysis. That solo laner can hold in the bottom. Now they can respond in the top. And if they don't respond as Team Freedom, that camp will start to do work on those structures.
Well, Freedom's going to possibly be able to get a channel. Actually, Octalysis went back up to the top to keep a hold of that, knowing it was going to take some time to take this away. There is several different backdoor possibilities for heroes like Avenging Wrath, like Dwarf Toss. There's also things like the grenade to knock people off, the hammer. But these aggressive rotations are exactly what Octalysis need to do versus this Cho'Gall composition. What worked for Heroes Hearth versus Tempo Storm's Cho'Gall. Early aggression. Get in there and bring it right from the start while Cho'Gall is still trying to ramp up, while he's trying to stack up. And that's working out for Octalysis here too, as you see them take those aggressive rotations on the other side of the beacons, knowing that they need to bring that same level of aggression.
Octalysis will need to do a lot with their early Zerg wave. They don't have crazy siege potential early. The Dragon Queen can definitely help that. Odin post 10 supplements very well. So see how much they can get done. The 0% Zerg wave is much stronger than it used to be, so that warrants a response.
But it's Dahaka there. So Dahaka can be the person to defend versus that and then stock down if they get an opportunity. For them, I think it's just going to make sure that they can keep up the soak in multiple lanes. Octalysis has used Dragon Queen here. I almost wonder if, because Cho'Gall is paired with Deckard Cain, if we'll see later on a greater healing potion just to try to keep him healed up even easier. But then again, they still have the Tassadar too, so maybe they'll stick with having the Ancient Blessings.
It's all about the bomb stats. Could be all about the deaths as Grug is getting bounced around here. Stuns, grenades, hammers, everything. Top wall was taken, but the bot lane was where the action is. As the entire fort fell, Raynor, he'll drop back. Yoda being the beacon in that bush.
Yeah, twice those aggressive rotations have cost Team Freedom their Raynor. So they need to be more cautious about that if they're going to ensure that that duo lane can keep up the pressure versus Octalysis and whatever solo laner they're finding themselves against in the lane.
Octalysis so far has had a great game plan to counter this Cho'Gall. Their rotations have been crisp. They've made appropriate movements. Cho'Gall already has 11 stacks. Post 13 on Braxis. For Octalysis, the hard part about winning on this battleground against the Cho'Gall is that it's not really going to be, can I get a Zerg wave? Can I get the beacons? Can I out-rotate them? You have to get kills. Because if you don't get kills, Cho'Gall post 13 and 16, post 13 in particular, just those balls wreck the Zerg wave. Because you get the cooldown reduction based on enemies hit, and they're plentiful. You can just throw bomb after bomb after bomb. It takes a long time to win through Zerg waves, so you have to win through kills as well. Right now, Octalysis seemingly has an early answer with the rotations and 2 kills already on the board.
The good thing for Octalysis, though, is should they be able to get structures down, namely a keep, they're the team that has the global. And they're the team also that is against a team who has forfeited one of their bodies on the field in order to have that Cho'Gall with that consistent poke damage and damage to clear out the Zerg wave. So if Octalysis can use this time, use the advantages that they get off of these early Zerg rushes to quickly take down a keep, then they should be able to keep the map manipulated in their favor so that if they can win a late game team fight, which will be formidable versus a Cho'Gall, then they can start to look to close out the game.
I can't help, every time the bomb goes out, they're putting themselves in position. They're hitting both minions and heroes to get as much as they can. 16 stacks and counting. Post 20, those things go out further and faster, making it even easier to stack.
Like, look at bottom right now. It is so pushed for the Dahaka. Nice knockback from Drated. Now add the Surging Fist, the nudge, the shove to get Grug to a safe location. Yoda still working on clearing this out. 10 almost here for Octalysis with heroic abilities. Let's see how aggressive they can get with them, how aggressive Freedom will let them be with that.
For Tassadar, he already has 800 stacks, so 80% of the way towards his Psystorm quest. That will help with the wave clear, and he desperately needs that. As you pointed out, he was struggling in the defense of that wave.
Yeah, Braxis Holdout is a place where you can quickly stack that one up, especially if you're dealing with the big old Zerg rush. Murden still considering Justing. Justing has been who has picked Haymaker this part, right?
The amount of knockbacks that they already have,
Yep.
we've seen them target that specifically.
Love the forward placement of Octalysis where they were at. They had heroics and they knew it. They're not wasting any time. They're not going to wait around for Team Freedom to try to slow this down, this onslaught at all. Dahaka in position again so that he can be the defense versus the initial Zerg rush of Team Freedom. Here comes Drated from the side. Dahaka stalking into Octalysis. Want to use these heroic abilities to equate kills versus Team Freedom. They're looking at a juicy Lutano as a target. That Raynor not getting that though, and now that is one stacking quest done.
They need Odin and Dragon Queen. Getting a keep here would increase their odds of winning. There they go. They both come out. Hyperion in response.
And Twisting Nether.
Twisting Nether. Yeah, that thwarts so much. 10 was so crucial there. I almost wondered if they were truly playing for the late game, if they might go upheaval. Definitely not. Twisting Nether makes sense because of the amount of melee, but post 20, the Pierce on the other heroic is So much damage in the clear. He's gonna put him in position, double stack.
This damage is starting to do wonders to Octalysis. Though they have a lot of self-heal in the heroes that they have. Having not only Alex tries to heal them up, but having the triple warrior composition between Muradin, Dahaka, Ural all have some self-heal there. But Freedom's feeling more confident to start getting back out on the map. They're still facing a level deficit to Team Octalysis, but they've had to endure a lot, and they've lost all of their Tier 1 structures. So for them, that's all they're comfortable in giving up. Now they want to start making sure that their presence is back on the map so they don't have to start losing possible keeps to Octalysis.
As long as they make it to 13, that's the name of the game to start the we can survive any onslaught in the form of PvE. That is how Cho'Gall works. Beacons will be active soon. Octalysis still has the control in terms of experience, map control, their rotations, the distance to safety for Team Freedom. If they leave that 3-2 split, it is a long walk home. They have the global of Dahaka that could come in for the flank, and one pick can spell an entire Zerg wave, given that there are less bodies, as you pointed out before.
Well, 13's going to be here for Octalysis first. Probably going to see damage reduction that'll help a lot from Ural. And Straighted picks that up. This lane is heavily pushed, which means they can back off from this, be able to get one beacon. Dahaka's pushing out the top so that he can get the other, and they start the channel and see how much they can get before Freedom is willing to fight without those 13s, if they're willing to get fully aggressive from that. Freedom pushing out this lane really fast, though, so that they can get in and contest one of these beacons, possibly.
Justine starts out on the point. Here in the bottom, Dahaka in top. Draded looking for a possible flank, has been sniffed out by Lutano. Here comes Dahaka, he's coming in, shove away, Surging Fist away for Grug as well. Lornado buying space, Ardent Defender already out. Twisting Nether was used. Octalysis walking away, Yoda already used that Archon, forced out the Lifeliner. Goku, he used his Essence, a lot of those heals being forced here, and now Odin out in return as well.
Hammer and the stun through Grug off the point. He wanted to get in. This was well done by Octalysis to get that one by Dahaka. Now pulling in Grug. We'll put him back on the point, which gets the contest going, but Octalysis want to use this 13 and the heroic abilities that were burned to hopefully equal out kills. If you take out Cho'Gall so that he can't defend, that would be huge. This would be huge for them if they could get this kill.
They've got to get out of there. I think they've made it to safety. 16, you get the Unstoppable. Another couple of weeks, that came through on the patch this week. Not live here, so post 16, you will have Unstoppable on your Surging Fist. For now, no 13. Odin was used in that last team fight to secure this, so they don't have it for the push. Dragon Queen, we'll see if that's available. No 13, which means that this clear is very difficult. Hyperion used in response.
This needs to be, it feels like it needs to be a keep for Octalysis, if possible. They're going to lose out on the fourth there because of the higher damage dealing, or the higher health Zerg Rush, even though nothing was achieved for Team Freedom there. Octalysis, though, they don't have Odin. Like you said, they don't have Dragon Queen, so they're trying to do this the old-fashioned way of getting the kill here. May end up sacrificing somebody, or instead of that, have to walk away slightly early. We'll see if they can end up using that global that they do have to manipulate the map in a way so that they can finish that off and start getting catapult pressure against Team Freedom.
Team Freedom held their keep. That, oh man, the safety of that keep. I can't speak volumes about how different this game will look now. Next Zerg wave, if Octalysis does obtain that, will be on the top lane. They used the camp during that last push, I believe. So that won't be available for a while. But 13, the crucial talents here. Here we go.
Goku will be slowed. The roots probably have to burrow out of that. Wait for the Lornado. So he does. He survives. Ural at the top, starting to push along with that camp to get that closer to the keep. Move back Team Freedom, and then look for who remains, who has to break away from the rest. Try to get kills from that, because Octalysis, This is a time where they're on the same talent tier, not for much longer though. If they can make it to 16, they can do the exact same thing they did before and just use that advantage. But those windows of opportunity, those are not going to happen for forever. And the longer this goes, the more Team Freedom gets more confident in having this Cho'Gall. This late game Cho'Gall, Raynor is gonna get a huge spike at 16 and damage too. You know, we've seen a lot of paint them red, but maybe we do see Bounty Hunter for the percent-based damage, the
Triple
armor
warrior.
too, but the percent-based damage for the Triple Warrior seems like it might be a juicy pickup for him.
They need to defend this. The camp here, they can defend against this, but if they aren't quick, this will be a keep that falls. See if they're willing to commit Odin to this. We've seen teams in the past commit to an Odin defense of a keep. The stacks continue. Lutano in deep. Twisting Nether is out, as is the Lornado. Pacify used on Grug.
Tahaka staying in the top, cleared out the camp now, getting into position to get the beacon. Then he can stalk back in after they have the beacons charging behind this. Actually, he stalks back in earlier. They are desperate to get this keep going, dropping down the Odin now. And that commitment will surely equal out the keep for Octalysis, finally getting some catapults, pushing, sieging against Team Freedom.
They committed it, they confirmed it, and they've established control. See if Team Freedom can fight their way back. Gall sitting on 38 stacks. As that continues to come up, 16 obviously brings the silence. They did get the cooldown reduction at 13. See how much this does in the team fight as they move forward and take control of this beacon, or neutralize it.
Octalysis is always really good at watching for when Grug wants to step on the point. Of course, he'll want to be the one to get onto a point versus everyone, and then they hit him with the Stormbolt, the Hammer, anything to give them a few more percent points. It's not a lot, but every little bit helps. Now Tahaka ready to stalk back in, has it off cooldown, and Octalysis gets more aggressive knowing that that's the case. Looking in, Collusion seems to be the target from one side. The Justing and Draded, Urel, Murd, and Hammer squad pushes them all the way back. Double supporting, keeps the team alive, but again, both beacons channeling for Team Octalysis.
Octalysis, if they can keep this up and get both of these, yes, Cho'Gall is 13, but they'll have Odin for the next push and might be able to confirm a second keep, if not become even stronger. If they can get a pick, they've been close. Titan Grenade picked up for Tychus, so bigger they are, picked up earlier. Titan Grenade gives you 5% of their max health taken out with one of those. 16 should be picked up in the middle of this wave for Team Freedom. You do get the silence, the unstoppable, but this is all on Cho'Gall to get the cooldown reduction on these bombs, and they're going to start by walking forward. They're still looking for hero stacks. That's a miss. They should have already had another bomb out.
Scroll of Sealing. Hard to siege into. There was the unstoppable of 16s there. Odin used. Octalysis move in. Drag does not connect. Hyperion on one side and the Twisting Nether on another makes a Venn diagram of pain that Octalysis are unwilling to siege into. So they do force back Octalysis and keep this keep for the moment.
Got the Odin still sieging up, but even talent tiers here for Team Freedom. Tano gets some damage out. Grug going in. Another stack, 42 and counting. Using that earlier on that Zerg wave might have saved them a world of pain. Remnants of the bottom lane still lingering for now.
Draded will show up and take out this, and with that, Team Freedom knew someone would have to show up for that. Team Freedom take out that top fort. So no forts remain for Team Octalysis, giving Freedom more chances, more space to chase down kills. And Freedom are closing the gap. That's the most important thing. They have made it back to where they're just within a level, and they have time to be aggressive this time. So they're going to use this time to get into Octalysis' side of the base, start getting some aggression going. But here's the problem. With that keep being down and a global existing for Octalysis, we're seeing Goku push that bottom lane hard with that Tahaka.
Draded has a giant hammer in the form of Urel, but Cho has his own, which is why we saw Goku moving forward thinking, hey, if they grab this, I can knock them out. But Cho'Gall with the unstoppable at 16. Giant Twilight Hammer on a relatively short cooldown. You can't really contest that. Contesting it doesn't really net you a lot.
And both of those are considerations for a boss if we start to see teams contest that, though I think first time maybe we would see Octalysis go to that is if they were to get 20 and have that last final talent tier ahead of their opponents, Team Freedom. Though this time being able to get a lot of camps, taking out that fort finally has some of the pressure relieved from them in their lanes, and especially in that top lane where the keep is extremely low. Almost.
They tried. They knew that they needed to try and get a kill. 20, much closer here for Octalysis. Remember, there's so much on the lines. Team Freedom wins this series. They guarantee their spot at the Western Clash. Octalysis, well, if they win decisively, they almost guarantee their spot.
Yeah, I think the only way is if Octalysis loses or wins 3-2, then there's still a chance. But 3-1 or 3-0, that'll give them a spot.
Claw Skull, here it is.
Well, Freedom, knowing that they need to force a fight and barring that, get something else done, Octalysis now has to make the difficult choice. Without 20, are they willing to contest this? Do they get traded in with his hammer? He's coming around the side, actually. They may try to get onto Lutano. Looks like Yoda is the target. Twisting Nether on the point. Knocked back from the wing buff at Grug. Way too low in health to continue staying on this point. The damage from the Dragon Queen brings down Yoda and Grug. Everyone in retreat for Team Freedom. As Drayden wants to chase him down, has the reduced healing from Collusion. It's enough to make him retreat. Nobody lost there, but Octalysis willing to give that fight to Team Freedom and still win it.
And now 20 on the horizon for Octalysis. Unstoppable by some time. The defense of this boss is so crucial. No matter what, the next Zerg wave for Octalysis, how it plays out, will be on the bot lane, and no keep will stand between them. Only the Mountain of Cho'Gall. Octalysis trying to go up in this series 3-1. They want to punch their ticket to the Western Clash. They want to be there. They feel this is where they're supposed to be. Right now, they're off to a good start here in game number 1 of this series.
That they are. They've been building back ever since that week 2 where they had to play versus Heroes Hearth and Tempo Storm.
Look, if you're Cho'Gall in this situation, you pop that bomb every single time you have a group of minions. You get the cooldown. There's enough minions in the Zerg wave. You get the cooldown reduction. It's no longer about stacking, but they are going in deep to start this fight. Grug comes in. Twisting Nether is out, but he's getting pulled back in. That's going to be the fault of Grug, and that should be enough to seal the deal as Odin is out. Octalysis is on the march. They have catapults. They have an Odin. No 20 here for Team Freedom. Zerg wave coming in to help finish this game.
Prismat smartly saving his Odin until he gets the shred on that Cho'Gall, and then they follow it up with the Odin for the core, for the kill, for more kills. Octalysis has been building up to be a more and more aggressive team throughout Part 1 ever since they had that weekend of Doom versus Tempo Storm and Heroes Hearth Esports, and now they're up 1-0 over Team Freedom on a Freedom-chosen battleground.
One day Cho'Gall will get a victory. That day is not today.
Nope, 0-4 throughout HGC NA history.
There's no need to remind me, Gilly. There's no need to remind me.
My apologies.
My heart already hurts. But for Octalysis, they had a very well-executed draft. They played a draft that they were comfortable with, regardless of enemy team composition. We saw the triple warrior come out in their first 3 picks. We knew exactly the way that they like to play. Solo laners in top and bottom, rotate with that Muradin. The Muradin is the key element to a lot of what they like to do with that composition. We've seen a lot of Muradin in the past. So you can get the Dwarf Tusk, get the stun, the lead in. They've used that to great success in the past. They use it here, and they pick up game number 1.
I just want to shout out Drayden too, because from what we've seen from him so far, it's been, yes, a third melee, but melee assassin focused, and Drayden comes onto this team. It's his new team off of LFM, so he wants to be able to prove himself. And then to play the crazy amount of heroes that he's played, he is one of the most flexible players on this roster that we have seen. He is willing to play whatever it takes, and what this does is allows Prismaticism, who we have talked and talked about his numbers and how consistent of a damage dealer he is, how much poke he puts in. It allows Prismat to stay on that role while Drayden fills in wherever is needed, and to bring him in and still be able to execute the same kind of strategy with a new hero in URL and still be able to have that kind of success is just awesome that they've been able able to use this flexibility to their advantage.
They saw a lot of talent in Draded. They brought him in after the departure of Kieran Dansky, so he's starting to find his way, and it does allow Prismat to be back there playing his heroes so he can play optimally.